Welcome to the Madison City Channel's Know Your Candidate interviews, co-sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Dane County. I'm your interviewer, Marilyn Townsend, and I would like to introduce Maureen McCarville, running for State Assembly District 42. As we begin, I'd like you to give an opening statement as to the educational, vocational, and civic experience you have, which qualifies you for the office and why you're running for the state assembly.
Well, thank you, Marilyn. Thank you for having me. A little bit about my background and why I'm running. So, I've lived in the district for 45 years. I've worked at the local utility, Madison Gas and Electric, for the last 40 years. And I've served at local government for most of my life. I started on the village board years ago, served 2 terms there. I currently serve on the Dane County Board since 2012 and am now running for the legislature. I like to be involved. I like to be active in my community. I like to help to make things better. I've never been one to sit on the sidelines. I come from a large family, and I was always raised with the, get in there and help, right? And so that would be what spurs me on. We live in troubled times. We feel women's rights are under attack. We know voting rights are under attack. We know vulnerable communities are under attack. All the things that we hold dear seem to be under attack. And I can't sit on the sidelines and watch that. And so we find ourselves where we are today. And I feel that pull to help. I served in the National Guard for 11 years. Enjoyed doing that, helping there. I've worked with a lot of organizations with the United Way of Dane County. I chaired our committee there at my place of employment to motivate people to get in and help in any way that we can. While I was on the DeForest Village Board, I organized 5 different river cleanups during my 4 years there in an effort to get the garbage out of the water, clean up the environment, get the community involved, get local leaders involved, get people, my neighbors involved. And to this day, we now have the Friends of the Yahira out here in DeForest. I enjoy that. Being on the county board, the biggest project in Dane County history, I started my tenure on the county board, and we are now in the end stages of finally bringing that to fruition. It's a cornerstone of criminal justice in an effort to help people through a system that's tough and do it in a humane way and a safe way that is that works for the community, and then hopefully helps people in need and turn their lives around when they come back into our communities as our neighbors and friends. And so I guess I'll leave it there.
Is there any process you believe the Wisconsin legislature should put in place now for redistricting after the next national census?
Yes. So I would model it somewhere along the lines of what we did at the county board. And that would be to have an independent body that would draw those lines, that would be made up of a group of people that are not political in nature in their backgrounds, and to do it with the intent to create fair maps and to prevent gerrymandering within our districts, which allow then the voters to pick their representatives as opposed to the representatives picking them or the parties picking them. So,
what issues, if any, do you think you could work on effectively in a bipartisan manner in the next session?
Well, I always have high hopes that we can work on all issues in a bipartisan manner. The name of the game is everybody has to have an open mind. We have strong convictions and we have strong ideas about what we want to see done. I worked on the union side at my place of employment for the first 18 years that I was there, and then on the management side. And on both sides of that, I bargained the labor contracts. I was the chief steward for my local and officer in my union, and we bargained at the grassroots level. And we used to come in to those talks, and everybody has what I would say is a wish list. This is what we ultimately we'd love to get it, right? But understanding that you're not going to get everything, right? But you want to make gains, you want to make strides, and the other side has their issues as well. So you need to find out where that common ground is. Can there be trade-offs? Should there be trade-offs? Still remain true to your values and what you hold dear, and get the job done. I don't believe locking yourself into a position is really going to move the ball, right? And that's not good for anyone or our constituents. I don't believe want that. That's not what I hear at the doors. They want to see things done. And they want their neighborhoods taken care of. They want their kids in good schools. They want laws that protect them.
What role, if any, do you think the legislature should have in addressing conditions in Wisconsin state prisons?
Well, I believe we need to ensure that the prisons are a safe place to house the prisoners, for the employees to work, and for the families to come and visit. I think that's basic human needs at the very minimum. If there's a way that the legislature can make that happen, ensure that the places where we are detaining folks or incarcerating folks is a place that hopefully will again help to rehabilitate, help people to turn their lives around, while they're detained for things they may have done in their past. So I think that would be the direction I would like to see it go, that where there is a spot where we can do that and uh, maintain the safety is the biggest thing I think that we should do for all.
What role do you think the state legislature has in ensuring successful outcomes for all students, including those with disabilities?
Right. So we need to fund the schools and we need to be fair about it. Um, Going to referendum every year to try to get the taxpayers to pay more money to fund the schools, once in a while, maybe, but I'll tell you, it puts the burden onto those communities and to those taxpayers, and it's unfair. Um, Communities that are possibly a little richer than other communities that aren't are going to maybe step up to the plate and fund that, and other communities aren't going to be able to. So we need a system that's fair across the board. We need to bring back formulas that work, that fund our schools, that give all kids a good education, and also eases the burden across all taxpayers. So I think that's the biggest thing with regards to schools.
Are there any steps you believe the legislature should take to further address mental health and substance abuse disorders?
Right. So that's tough. Mental health is just a huge issue. And it oftentimes is related to the drug issue. So, do the drugs bring on the mental health issues? Do the mental health issues bring on the drug issues? I mean, what comes first there? So, what can we do? We can. I would be in favor of backing initiatives that are going to go towards programs for rehabilitation, for treatment, um, for on the mental health side. We have, I believe, still fallout from the COVID situation where people were locked down in their homes for a number of years, and reacclimating ourselves to um, how things get done, coming back out, so to speak. And it's a tough thing. So whatever we can do at the legislature to put forward or uh, enact to address those needs, I would be in support of. Also with our veterans, veterans, oftentimes there's homeless issues with veterans, there's suicide issues with veterans. These are folks that, protected us. They volunteered to serve, and as a country, we owe it to them to help them in their time of need. So um, that's what I would do. Yeah.
What other priorities do you have for your term in office?
Right. So there's a long list of things out there we need to address. Environmental issues are huge. Clean air, clean water. We have the PFAS issue within the water system. So I think we need to find a way to mitigate that, to clean it up so that the water is clean for folks. And I think we need to hold folks accountable um, for that PFAS to begin with. And I think we need to work in partnership with other entities in order to do that. I sit on the airport commission in Dane County, and the airport, the guard, and the local government working together to try to come up with solutions of how we clean it up at the same time. So we need to stop doing it, number one. Then we need to identify where it is, and then we need to clean it up. And so that would be a priority. Obviously, women's rights, reproductive health, healthcare are huge. I was recently endorsed by Planned Parenthood of Wisconsin. So I think that government should stay out of the business of healthcare. They don't have any business there. I think those are issues that should be decided with a woman and her doctor. And so I would be a huge advocate for that. Anything having to do with the environment. We have issues with our roads. We have issues with, energy. I would love to see more renewables out there, whether it's solar or something moving away from fossil fuels and, electric cars. So I'm in favor of the things that are going to improve the lives of our citizens and that are also going to leave the least of footprint as we can on the environment, and then cleaning up, the mess that we've made for future generations, and doing our best to fix that.
What would you like to say to the viewing audience as we complete this interview?
Well, I would like to say, again, I've served for many years in local government. And the real trick to serving, I believe, is working with the people that you serve with. Those are where we're going to get come to some solutions and come up with some answers and to get things done. So I pledge to do that. I will work across the aisle whenever possible. I will do work my hardest to make things happen, to make their lives better. Work to protect our environment, work to protect folks' rights, and hopefully they will come to the ballot box and vote. And I would ask the voters to do something here. I would ask them to come to the voting booth, obviously, but bring somebody with you. Maybe somebody that doesn't vote. Remind your neighbor. Make sure your parent or your sibling or your friend gets out to vote, because it matters. A lot of these local races get decided by a handful of votes. There's some of them that are done with a flip of a coin, believe it or not, right? So I think when we tell people those stories, they don't fall into the, oh, I'm just one vote of thousands of votes. No, you matter. You totally matter. So bring somebody out with you, come out to the polls, vote, be part of it. We all have a role to play. My role, I believe, is running for office and taking the seat and working on the behalf of the citizens. Other folks that maybe aren't into the government side of things is, you know what? Come on out and vote. Encourage others to vote. That's something that you can do at your comfort level. So that's what I would like to say. And I'm looking forward to November. I'm going to work extremely hard between now and then.
I want to thank Maureen McCarville for speaking with us and want to thank the viewing audience for taking the time to know your candidates. I want to remind everyone that the general election is Tuesday, November 5th. Every election is important. Please vote. On behalf of Madison City Channel and the League of Women Voters of Dane County, thank you for joining us.